if you're not 100% authentic and honest with your own audience, then that's not right. Going from absolute sky high to the lowest of lows, I kind of try to pick up relatable insights that everybody has been through, everybody has heard, and kind of package that with my own kind of masala in it, letting it go, just making it and putting it out there, and then taking a step back. That's very difficult to do,
So tough. Agasthya Shah is a unique content creator. He's unique because when you watch his content and you also dig into his mind to understand how he observes the world around him and the people around it, you realize there's someone who has a deep sense of clarity and thought amidst the highs and lows of content creation to really be able to put that out in a way that all of us love to consume. We tap into that and so much more in today's episode. But before you go there, I want to make sure you hit subscribe and smash that bell icon. Go straight into my chat with Agasthya. This has been many times jinxed, but yet finally happening podcast. We have planned this for many, many months.
Twice, thrice, yeah.
But it's good to see you, man. I think the last time we spoke was online. We've done a podcast in the past online. It was, I remember coming out of that conversation thinking about all the stuff which you said, especially on manifestation. I'm like, oh, this is like someone who's got so many interesting things and perspectives. And I was like, I've got to do a podcast again at some point of time. And this happened finally.
This set, first of all, it's incredible. An in-person podcast. Thank you so much for having me again.
No, I'm happy to have you. You've had an interesting couple of years.
Is
the word interesting?
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah.
Because I remember that there was this point in 2020 when we spoke where there was a fair amount of growth happening across the content. I was watching this reel you made about your last decade.
Yes.
Of across the last decade, and I could see the transition. But I want to talk to you about how has your life as a creator been, especially over the last few years, and how you've seen yourself change with that.
So you say over a few years, but 2020 is just 3 years away.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all of this has happened in a span of 3 years, where I feel like very early on in my journey, I was lucky enough to see the highest of highs, and even luckier, in my opinion, to see the lowest of lows, in my opinion, because I had a couple of months where I was, when I think during the time we spoke, where I was, getting 60,000, 70,000 followers per month for a span of 3-4 months. And after that, there was around 540 days where I was, a year and a half, where I was stuck between 380 and 400K. So 20,000 followers for 540 days when you're doing 70,000 in 30 months, going from absolute sky high to, the lowest of lows. But even, so that was, my years have been very polar, in my opinion, because 2020 and half of 2021, I saw a great time. 2021 second half was kind of whack, and 2022 up to my birthday, again, September 24th, was kind of whack. But I've learned so much in that, kind of time that I kept telling myself that whatever's happening, it's happening for a reason. And now that it's over, I'm, connecting the dots backward, like Steve Jobs said, and I'm understanding why it was important for me to go through that place to get to the next one.
Also, it's interesting when you spoke about the numbers, right? And that's one of the things that I feel it's spoken about, but I feel people don't get the layers of what really goes through a creator's mind, because you go through periods of spurts, and like I said, like extreme growth spurts, and then there is just like, and as much as people say you need to read the data, you need to understand analyze it, most times there is no logic as to why things are not working or why things are working also. You have no idea.
There's no logic.
And do you think that period was when you sat down and saying, one second, as much as it is about the numbers, it's also about you finding what your voice in the long term is going to be, what you're doing this for? Did you go through that kind of thought?
I definitely went, I don't exactly know what my voice is going to be in the long term, if I'm being honest. I'm still figuring that out. But I realized that whatever I was going through at that point of time, it was important for me to evolve as a creator. I think I learned that it's important for me to go through stuff like that so I can evolve from version A of myself to version B of myself. And in the long run, I realized that this might be a speck in my entire journey, or a speck in the lows that I face in the next 10 to 20 years. At this point of time, this might seem like the biggest thing that could have gone wrong, quote unquote. I felt that at the point, but not any. I don't feel it was wrong at this point of time. I felt it obviously while I was going through it, but I've learned that I have to make videos because I love making videos, because if I want to do this for the next 10, 15, 20 years possibly, or do something in this industry also. Sure, numbers, money is great, but it's a really funny thing to say that Amir Khan said this in Three Idiots, right? That excellence ke piche bhago, you know?
Yeah.
That's what he said.
Yeah.
Success ke piche mat bhago. And I didn't understand that for how many of years the movie's been out, and I've watched it so many times, but I really understood it in the last month, that I have to chase excellence and not run behind success and money and, you know, followers, because all of that will follow by default if you're just doing your best and being authentic as a person instead of being this personality on the internet.
Yeah.
You know, I that's the distinction I found.
You know, you said that you're not sure what your voice is going to be. And I actually was thinking today, saying, what would I call you in terms of when I follow you? And I was like, for me, you're, and I know you use it a lot in your titles, you're that friend.
Yeah.
And that, for me, that is like the way I would define, because it's so, a lot of the stuff you put out is very relatable, even for someone who's much older than you, like me. But I find a lot of those so relatable because you're almost picking up specific things that we all go through, people we connected with, that things going on in our world. And whenever I see that, I'm like, well, people might look at it and say, okay, this is just content that is, you know, in this form. It shows that you have an understanding of what you're looking at people around you. You're looking at things that that all of us react to, all of us think about it. You're almost putting stuff out there that we're all thinking. Is that how it started?
So yes, actually, if I had to say, yeah, that's how it started. So primarily when I started off, I used to make videos around my school life, my friends, my family, especially in the lockdown, because there was so much content going around in my family itself. But I kind of learned that I know people, you know, I understand people to a degree, and that's very important in the profession that we're in, because knowing your audience is kind of knowing the people.
Yeah.
So I kind of try to pick up relatable insights that everybody has been through, everybody has heard, and kind of package that with my own kind of, you know, masala in it. So it is entertaining, it's funny, it's something that you feel like sharing with your friends, it's something that you come back after a month or two and maybe still relate to and still laugh the same way that you laughed the first time. So I kind of find a mixture in observation and my own personal instances. I would say that's how I would sum up my content.
And do you have a process where you put down stuff you observe? How do you do
so
that?
Yes, in my notes, I just have a list of things. So whenever I'm out at a party or a club or dinners or wherever, a family function, and I see something happening, I'm like, that's a viral reel. And I just take my phone out and I make a note of it, and then I go home and I kind of think about it and I script it up.
I find that interesting because, you know, there's this whole thing about saying the way you look at the world is often how you create if you're a creator. Are you almost at some point waiting for things to, are you manifesting things to happen so they become characters you can create content of?
No, I'm just...
Are you saying I'm waiting for someone to do, I'm gone for like a Shadi ka dinner, there is definitely a buffet, there will be that one uncle.
Yes.
I'm waiting for that uncle to pop in.
Yes. I mean, I don't think I'm actively manifesting it, but I think it's in my subconscious at some, you know, degree, where I'm kind of drawing these things to me, these, you know, anokha characters, if I had to call them.
Yeah.
But I'm not manifesting it, meeting an uncle at a buffet, but I think it just kind of happens in my life, and I'm very happy that it happens.
And I mentioned manifesting also because I remember the last time we did the podcast together. That's one thing which you spoke about, that, you know, you have strong belief in just the power of manifestation, what that can do. I want to talk to you about how is that progress? Is that still a core piece? And it's been 2-3 years now since then, but how is your relationship with manifesting gone?
It's been an up down relationship, genuinely, because what I told you in the last year and a half, at that time also I was still manifesting. I never really let it go. But it was a battle that I was facing with myself and the universe, that why are you doing this to me? Like, but because I'm manifesting, right? I'm such a huge believer in it. And why are my followers or things that I'm manifesting not happening to me? Why am I posting videos? So it came to a point where the more I posted, the more followers I lost. I was actually better off not posting videos. But then I was like, then again, for how long am I going to do that? Right? I'm doing it because I love it. Doesn't matter after a point. So it's been an up down relationship. It's been a rocky one, but I feel like the universe ultimately, in my opinion, controls everything, and manifestation is a part of the universe, right? Ultimately, the universe has other lessons also to teach you in some way or the other. Might not be the nicest of ways, but I've learned that it kind of put my manifestation goals to a side, and kind of, which were quite honestly number and materialistic things based at that point of time, and it taught me other life lessons instead, which I feel like will benefit me more in the long run than those numbers or materialistic things would have. It kind of taught me to slow down. The biggest thing it taught me was slow down. You're not going anywhere. You're here to stay. Believe that inside, that you're going to be here for the next 10 years and be the biggest. You don't have to run. You don't have to rush through it. Because the more I rushed through it, I had phases where I used to burn out a lot, because I was posting 2 reels every single day for 3-4 months. And I was severely burnt out after that. And it kind of taught me to take a step back and find who I am and what I want to create. And that's been the relationship, but I never stopped manifesting. Because I realized all this after that period was kind of over. And the moment I knew that this was the universe, this was not only things that I'm imagining, or the universe is trying to teach me this, trying to teach me that, like clear signs. On the day of my 20th birthday, that was the first day, Varun, after a year and a half, that my followers went up, and they've never gone down since. On the day of my 20th birthday, when I was really struggling, I would say 2022 was not the best year of my life. September onwards, it was a great year. But, it's these moments that kind of taught me. And, I've kind of connected it that I met some of the biggest creators in the country, people that I have the earliest memory of watching any content. I've met them, and they've told me that they've seen my work and they like my work. I had 2 goals before I turned 21. One was the Billboard. One of them is accomplished. And I was like, the universe put me through all of that in that year and a half, only for it to finally reward me, in some way, and also teach me in the process. So I'm still actively manifesting. My biggest manifestation in the next 3 to 4 years, I want to say, is this. I want a BMW. It's my dream car, and this is the cap this is my most worn cap in my every event, every stories, reels, podcasts also. And the day
You're
I
putting
get
it out there.
yeah, I'm putting it out there. And the day I get it, I want to put this cap, because I got this cap, I think 3 years ago. One of my friends gifted it to me. I want to put this cap on the hood of my car 3-4 years down the line, saying I called it back then and I manifested it, and now it's real today.
I want to ask you about the hoarding, but before I go there, I want to pick up one piece you said, right? You spoke about how the universe told you to slow down.
Yeah.
And I think that's an important lesson, right? Because we all feel like the faster we run, we'll get to where we want to go.
Yeah.
But what we don't often realize is that slower you go, oftentimes you see things a lot more clearly. It's not like, it's not choppy waters, you kind of calming down the waters. Right. And you forgot that time when, you almost felt like, okay, I have to slow down. Was that when the recalibration happened? Saying, okay, now let's look at creating the kind of content I really want to make. Let's put the numbers on the side to an extent. Let's just focus on this. Did you feel like you realized then more than ever that this is what I enjoy doing? Because you weren't clouded with the numbers?
Right. No, there was definitely a time where I kind of said, okay, I don't care. I'm just going to make the best videos I can, and let the algorithm, or let the people, the audience that have made me who I am today, support me. That was a big thing there, letting the reins go off a little bit and saying that this is what I am, this is what I'm creating, and you guys have supported me so much. You guys are the reason I am whatever I am today, and it's in your hands now. Letting it go, just making it and putting it out there, and then taking a step back. That's very difficult to do.
So tough.
I still
Because
to
when you're
this day.
letting go, you're literally saying that I'm not trying to control this.
Exactly. It's like, okay, I'll post a so there was a time where I used to post a reel, and then every 5 minutes for half an hour, so 6 times, check the comments, check the views for half an hour. How is it doing? How's it doing? I just stopped doing that. I posted a reel, reposted on my story saying new reels out, guys, and I shut my phone for 2 hours and I'm scripting other reels and doing other work. Because what I saw was, if that particular reel didn't do well, then my entire psyche or my mentality in working for the next couple of hours was very different, and I could not even think about a better video just because I was stuck in that bad zone that, oh, this video didn't do well, what if this new video also doesn't do well? But letting the reins go was a big decision. It was a tough one, but I feel like it brought me a lot of mental calmness, a lot of mental peace, and it also taught me this important lesson that is one of my biggest goals in 2023 is to build a team. You have an amazing team here, and it's my goal also to build a team where I can let go of the reins a little bit and I can spend more time in ideating instead of doing the everyday tasks. Ideating and thinking about the bigger picture. What is the next big thing that Agasthya Shah as a brand can do, instead of me being working on small things that takes my time. So that's the biggest thing that last year taught me, and that I'm going to do by the end of this year.
Also it also teaches you that you don't necessarily have all the answers. And you're not always right.
You're never right.
And that does stay, and everybody who's behind this camera will say that sometimes I don't listen to things which are right till I realize that what I said was wrong. So I'll admit to it. To all the people grinning behind the cameras right now. I want to go to the hoarding, because I remember watching that video. I remember you put, I think in your stories you said there's something coming up which is,
it's going to blow your mind.
And I was like, I want to see what's going on. And I remember seeing that video, and what caught my eye was that, hey, you've done this. Actually, you explain the video before I want you to explain it, because I'll tell you what I as a viewer saw, but I'd love for you to explain it.
So what my thing was, so my mom knew about this, okay, because I personally, when I go, so the deal of the Billboard came in directly from Boat. It came on a Thursday, I think. Friday it got closed. Saturday was a shoot. It happened all in a span of 3 days. I didn't have time to process it, and I can't keep such a big thing in myself. I have to tell one person or two people. So I told my mom, and I kind of hinted it to my dad. Didn't tell him, but my nana nani, I just told them that in Gujarati ki kai bo motu avanu che, just wait. Something big is coming. Just wait. And my nani's cross-questioning me continuously. I was like, Nani, just wait, the suspense. I want to build it up. And the day I got to know that the Billboard is up, I drove there. I kind of did recce of the area. I specced it out that in the night where it's... Because it's a road, Jutara Road, that I've used all my life. My family's used all their life. So I know what time the traffic's going to be there, what time the traffic's not going to be there, what's an area I can get the car parked, have the videographers. So I went there, did like a, shoot site study, and I called the videographers, and Paritosh Anand, you know Paritosh? So Paritosh really helped me with that video, because it was on a short timeline, and he really helped me turn it around with his team. And he had 2 videographers waiting there, and I came. I told my Nana Nani I'm taking them for a drive, and I told my dad I'm taking them for dessert. Okay. It was a very odd thing, because 4 of us are in the car, 5 of us are in the car together. And so there's a U-turn. The Billboard's here. Okay. And I took the U-turn, and I just stopped the car here, and I told them to shut your eyes when I took the U-turn. And I had 2 guys waiting there, to get their natural raw reaction. And I just got them out of the car. I helped my Nana out because he was closing his eyes, my parents also. And I just stood 4 of them in a line, and I was there. And I just told them, open your eyes, and I just pointed. And the pure joy in their eyes that's the moment I realized that it's not the money or the any fame or anything I'm doing it for. I'm just doing it to make the people who genuinely support me, genuinely love me, smile. That was my entire concept behind the video also, and I thought this would be a really cute and nice moment to share with my online family, the ag fam. And the amount of love that I've got from that video, it's I think my favorite video ever that I have made. And I never thought I would have one favorite video, but no, that's my favorite video.
Your Nana's face, and I remember this vividly when I saw it.
Yeah.
I thought it's one of the most, you see moments captured
Mm.
in content online, and you see that's one of the most beautiful things to watch, because I could genuinely see what he felt when he looked at
Yeah.
it. I'm also happy that camera just got it right. Often
I'm
you're
so
you are like
happy.
you want to get those right shots in
I'm
place,
so happy he got that shot.
and that's what stood out to me also, because I feel when we all have our families in real life, and they all see us doing, especially if you're a creator, your family see you doing weird shit all the time,
Yeah.
right? And you also ask them to do really weird things all
Yeah,
the
definitely.
time. The other day I had to shoot something, and I'm like, and I was supposed to be lying on the floor, and I have my Pooja shooting it up from above. My daughter walks in, she's 5. She's like, what is
What am I
what is
doing?
going on? What is dad up to? Right. But I feel these moments, I feel for them, it's almost like I don't think, I think they always get it, but I feel that they feel it a lot more when
Yeah, they
these
can't
moments happen.
process it, to be very honest. Yeah.
Yeah. But how was that for you? See, one is how it is for them, but I feel what also showed us what it meant for you, and because people often don't get, someone says, "Are holding it," but it means so much more.
Yeah.
Why does it mean so much more?
So it means so much more because I think only in the last year have creators actually been on hoardings. I don't think before 2022 there have been creators on hoardings, like real proper billboards. And I think that's why because before that it was such a prestigious thing that was reserved off to only the biggest of stars when their movies are coming out. I see a Shah Rukh Khan or a Ranveer Singh or a Salman Khan on billboards. And I thought that first question was, will I ever get a billboard? Second was, movie karunga, kabhi karunga, nahi karunga, billboard aayega, nahi aayega life mein. But then when it came, it was so big for me because I remember watching billboards and just thinking that how has one person been able to get to such a point where a brand or somebody is willing to spend lakhs of rupees to just put them on a print 30 times bigger than their actual self. It just seemed so whack to me. And that's why it was such a big moment, because it was one of my two goals before I actually turned 21. On the day of my 20th birthday, when my followers went up for the first time, I made two goals. One of them was a billboard, and the other one's also on track to being achieved. But I was like, in the craziest of ways, one has come true. And I had no idea 2 days ago before the shoot, and I'm shooting for my billboard now. 2 days ago, life was like, normal, it was going. But that's why I think it was such a big moment. And especially because I'm so proud that I got my Nana and my dad to cry. I am so proud because that's like, those are the moments that, 20 years down the line also, I want to show my kids that I dreamt of it and I did it. So there's no reason that you or anybody in this world can't do what they dream. And that's kind of the message that I want to put out to the world.
You also, in terms of the community you have, in terms of your followers, everybody else, right? Apart from your content, there's also a certain level of support you're building with each other. How much of that is something which you are trying to drive, and how much of that just happened naturally?
I've always been somebody who has been told, everybody, not only me, everybody's been told, chase your dreams. Karo, chase your dreams. You want to become an actor, a cricketer, an astronaut. In school we're told, chase it. But nobody really shows you what goes behind chasing your dream. It involves a lot of sacrifices. It involves a lot of work. And most people give up in that phase because they're like, I've tried for a year, 2 years, it's not happening. Maybe this is not for me. But the message that I want to show is that these guys have seen me at my highest of highs, and I'm very open. See, I know creators who are reserved off to sharing stories like this when their followers aren't growing, because they're like, oh, what would brands think, what would agencies think, what would my fellow creators think, what would my audience think?
Yeah.
But I feel like if you're not 100% authentic and honest with your own audience, then that's not right. If you're showing them the most glamorous moments of your life when you're on a billboard, you have that responsibility to show them that there are downs also, because at the end of the day you want to empower them and show them that you too can do what you want to do, and you're going to have your highs, but you have to be prepared for the lows. And if you're looking up to me or looking at me that he's done this from where he came, I think it's important to show the lows also. So I don't want to give anybody the fake impression that not only my dream but anybody's dream is easy. They have to be ready for what they're getting into, and only if they genuinely love it, and if they genuinely love it, will they be able to get there even after falling 10, 20, 30 times.
I think that second thing you said is important, right? Because you often believe that just the manifestation of it is what's there, and if you want it, it'll happen. So much work to get there. There's so many things to go beyond. You just have to believe that it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
And I've actually realized that oftentimes that even before you get there, you realize it's been worth it anyway because you enjoy the process of it so much. Like the process of a lot of these things is so much fun to do, and has so many, like, I would say, moments that are of great value.
Definitely.
That by the time you actually get to it, you're like, it's not like the period of getting there has also been like a dud. It's had its moments, had so many things there, and also makes you value the people who you're creating this content for a lot more as well. Because I feel oftentimes you tend to forget that people genuinely do get value from this stuff. People genuinely enjoy a lot of this stuff. Are there a few things that kind of stick out for you in terms of your community, and what really sticks out for you about them?
There have been a couple of things. So, for example, I met one person who recently, day before yesterday, who told me that even she's an artist, and she was about to, this was at a college fest, I think, that she saw that post that I made about the 400K and the journey, and she saw my Billboard reel, and because of that, she was very close to giving up on her dream of being an artist. I think she was a singer, and that she didn't give up, and that she kept going for a while, and ultimately a couple of her videos went viral, and she signed with a label, So there have been instances like that where I've met people that they have said that, even big creators, that like, I genuinely like what you're doing, and I like how hard you work and how persistent and dedicated you are to what you want to do, and that I won't let anything break me. That's my number one thing. And coming from people that, again, I've looked up to and that I have the earliest memories of watching videos, coming from them, it's genuinely eye-opening for me that something I'm doing is right.
You said, I won't let anything break me. Is that always how you've been, or is something you worked on over time?
I think the circumstances made me that. I think very early on in my life, I learned that if I want something, or if I want to get my parents something, I'm going to have to do it myself. Obviously, my parents never told me anything. They were like, just do what you want to do, just be happy. And they really supported me a lot. But I feel like just giving back to my parents has been the biggest motivation, and that has solidified me in such a way that I won't break for them and for my brother. Rather than myself, I feel like that's bigger, and I'm realizing this on the podcast right now while talking to you. So yeah, I feel like the biggest thing is I will not break for them. That's why I'll never break.
And that's actually so cool, right? And I remember a while back we had Abish on the podcast, and Abish spoke about how for him what's most important for him is how will his almost like central core of people, be it his family or closest friends, react to the stuff that he does. And that's almost like his filter for everything that he creates. And the more I'm speaking to more and more creators, I'm realizing that a way for a creator to be centered is actually not to focus as much on the broader world and the audience. What is your core group, and how what you're doing, or rather what you're doing, how is that connecting to them, and how is that
Hmm.
making them feel,
Exactly.
and what you're able to do for them. I feel that's actually become a great way to center yourself as
Yeah,
a creator.
exactly. Yeah,
Because being a creator can be a very weird world.
it
Like you're
can.
dealing with
It can.
good vibes, hate at the other end of things.
Yeah.
There's a lot of randomness there.
And it's very easy to let it get to your head, very, very quickly. It's very easy because, especially when it happens in such a small period of time at a relatively younger age, I feel like, because, I genuinely find it odd sometimes. So I'll tell you about this college fest that I was at. It was my first college fest, so I didn't know what to expect. And I went there and I was greeted by the hospitality team, and they were making a human chain around me and taking me. I was so out of. I was like, because these couple of them are my friends. They're studying in the college where my friends are studying. So I'm sure they're mutuals at
Yeah.
some point. And they're clearing the way. I was like, guys, it's okay. Like I get that they're doing their job. Like they're from the hospitality team, but I genuinely feel like I don't understand what is happening in my life. It's, after a point that why is this happening? I used to be at college fests like this, and now I'm being called as a guest at college fests. It doesn't I don't know why. I still haven't been able to understand why it doesn't feel fit right with me, because it's my own friends who are in that space, and that's why I feel like a lot of creators enjoy that. They live up to it, in the sense that a couple of creators my age also, I don't know them very well, but a couple of creators my age also, I've seen videos of them with people making chains, and they're walking around like they are some gundas, and that they are being called to the school. It's like you have to keep some sort of, your feet always have to be on the ground, no matter how big you are. You can't act like you're above anybody else.
Yeah.
That's the
That's a sticky slope, right? Because once
Yeah,
you
yeah,
get into that mode, then you're building that bubble around you.
of yes men, you know.
And that can be very, very scary. I remember talking to a creator in one of the creator days who was telling me about how many selfies someone or people have taken with him that day. And in my head, I'm like, I didn't say it, but I'm like, don't make that your only metric of success.
Yeah,
Don't make that
yeah,
your only
yeah, yeah.
metric, because at some point, today you're counting.
Yeah, that's what.
If that goes lower, then it's just going to hit you. And versus if your satisfaction is driven by
Content.
content, and just generally how much you enjoy doing it. Because at some point, if you stop enjoying the actual content creation,
Yeah.
it becomes a job.
Yes.
And you don't want this to be a job.
No. I mean, to an extent, you have to treat it like a job, but you can't
But a
think
job you
of
like.
it like a job. You know?
Yeah.
You can't think of it like a job, but you have to treat it like a job. Show up every day.
Yeah.
I feel like that's important.
There's also a few other things, right, which I've noticed across your content. And I go back to my first couple of interactions with you, is that as much as your content might seem like you're dealing with base level emotions, there's a genuine focus which I can see that you have on self improvement, on just general creating that vibe of support between you and your community. And also, I think interesting what's happening. Is this something you kind of built out in this form because of anything that you faced before you became a creator? Saying, okay, I want to build that support for myself.
Yes. So I realized that not a lot of creators kind of, I don't think it's their fault, to be honest, but they don't notice or respect a lot of young upcoming creators. Not even young, just basically upcoming. Doesn't matter on the age. Maybe are at 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 followers. But there were a couple of creators who did that to me, where initially I didn't have any kind of support system, but just that one follow back from a big creator can mean so much more to you. And I've said this to her also, Komal Pandey. She was the first big creator to follow me. She was the first verified person to follow me, and I met her. I've met her a lot. I told her this, that I was at 7,000 followers, and she followed me, and that was such a big moment for me. I have a video of me calling my best friend when Komal followed me, when Kusha followed me for the first time. And to see from there making a video with Kusha and hanging out with Komal, it's like a full circle moment. But I feel like what those guys did for me back then is something that I'll never forget, because even though that might not have been their intention, they just supported me in a way that maybe they didn't know that they were supporting me.
Yeah.
Just that follow back meant so much, and it gave me that confident boost that, okay, if somebody who's at such a huge level has supported me or has followed me back because they like my content, then there's something I'm doing, which is right. And I feel like I've also done that for a couple of creators. So if I genuinely on Instagram or on YouTube, I see some creator who's young, on Explore page or in YouTube also, now the algorithm, it suggests people around 5-10,000 followers who are making very good content, but they're just not getting that reach. I kind of get their Instagram through their description, or I send them a voice note on Instagram. Creators at 5 to 10,000 followers that aren't known necessarily at that point of time. I send a voice note to them saying, hey, I saw your work. I genuinely loved it. I just want to tell you that if this is a bad day for you, keep going. I, as an audience member, I really love your work. You're killing it. Just keep going. Don't stop, because you're made for this and you're going to do big things in this. So I just randomly keep sending voice notes to young creators. Like, even I'm young, man. I don't know why I'm saying young. But like creators who are at like 5-10,000 followers, for example, because that would have meant so much coming from somebody who is at 300-400K also.
Yeah.
So I try to support creators in every single way that I can.
And that's important for any ecosystem to grow, right?
Exactly.
The more you're like, people talk about the collab feature in multiple ways. I think there's something interesting about that, which almost saying that you have, it's like a signal saying you have to work together for all of y'all to grow together. I should collab more. Good point. But fair enough. I think it's genuinely that. It's just the fact that you send that message. And I find that to be such a... It's almost like a step you're taking and saying that it's something I have to do.
Yeah.
No one's asked me to do it. But because I really appreciate when that someone did that to me when I was a creator at the early stage. And kind of paying that forward. And so it's just, unless you do that cycle of paying it forward, it's always going to be this is my territory, you can't come in here.
Yeah, I don't think that's how creators should think, to be honest. That it's my territory, that these are my followers. If I collab, will they get my followers? Will I get something from them? I feel like you should collab with a person if you like the person, period. That's it. And I have not collabed on Instagram a lot, but I have a lot of collabs planned. It just I'm jinxed, dude. Like, even I'm jinxed. It just
our
never
recording was jinxed in many ways.
But I mean, if I genuinely, even if a person's at 10 million followers, and if I don't like their energy, I don't like the type of person they are, I will not collab with them. And that's something very
because you're sending
clear.
a signal, right? I feel that's also the thing. I feel the audience is smart enough to notice when something doesn't feel like should be part of this.
Matching. Yeah.
They're like, you just done it for... It's obvious you've done it for numbers. It's the same way how I often sometimes a brand deal can feel that way. But I feel more so associating yourself with another creator can actually feel like that a lot more. Because suddenly they're like, this doesn't mix.
Yeah, exactly.
And they'll say, why are you mixing it? Why?
Why? It's just like, this is not you. Why are you doing this? But I feel like with branded content, I have found a good
vibe.
I found a nice vibe where I can subtly integrate it. But at the same time, I think I said this on Divyanshu's podcast.
Yeah.
Where you have to give value to the brand as well as the audience. So the brand is like, take my money.
Yeah.
And the audience is also happy that, hey, this was great. Good product, good way you've put it in. You made us laugh in the video. So now I genuinely am interested in the product you're promoting because I got value from the video. So I found a good balance.
But do you also draw a line between how much you let your audience get to your head? Do you have
get into my head, as in?
This one is the amount of stuff that an audience will say, and you'll keep looking at the comments and reading through that. But at some point, also like, okay, I don't want to read this right now. I know if I'm doing this, I'm looking internally right now. Do you have a point when you do that, or good vibes all around?
I feel like it's good vibes all around, man. I'm just I obviously read comments. I see what the audience is liking, what is working, what's not working. I have my finger on the, trigger in that way. But I feel like even if what's working, if I'm not liking making it, I will not make it. Like, that's stupid. If you know what's working and not making it, you're stupid.
Yeah.
But I will find a way to like mix a little bit of Agasthya Shah in what's working and then put it out to my audience.
Yeah.
Right? Because I feel like, who said this? Somebody I saw on a podcast recently said this, that it's your content should be such that the type of content is known because of your name. You're not known because of the type of content.
That's actually true. There's also another aspect I wanted to ask you is that because of the almost characters you play and the conversational style that you do, is being an actor a thing in your head? Is that what?
Man, I get this question every single day.
You also mentioned actor earlier. I just caught on to that when you said it.
That's what I'm saying. Varun, just 3 years ago, I could not have imagined I would be sitting doing a podcast. I didn't know what a podcast was 3 years ago, if I'm being honest, before the lockdown. I had no idea what a podcast was. And I'm sitting here doing a second podcast with you now. So I don't know what the future holds for me, man, to be honest. Because especially after the Billboard, I saw in 3 days, my life can go from up to down. It's completely in the hands of something that I don't have control of. But I feel like there's definitely going to be a point where I get into acting. The biggest thing for me is when anybody asks me this, I say that I want to build myself up to that point where I don't see. I've obviously got a couple of auditions here and there, but I've not genuinely wanted to do them because I feel like as a creator, I want to get better first. I want to improve my skills first, my ability first. I want to get to a level where a director or producer is like, okay, we want this guy because we like the way he acts. We like his skill set. We like the way he embodies a particular character. I don't want to just do it for the sake of doing it. I don't want to do a mid role just to say, oh, I'm in a Netflix web series now.
Yeah.
I feel like it will happen at some point, but I need a couple of more months or a year to kind of get to that. And I'm working on it. It's something that's going on the back burners as of now. But I think it's unavoidable. Quite honestly.
I also asked you that because I'm a firm believer that for all creators, there are two directions that everyone will go towards. Yeah. One direction is you look towards saying, okay, I'm moving towards becoming talent, you working towards, becoming a creator for a larger series, etc. Or you think I'm going to go the entrepreneur route. I'm building out a business with that. And so I'm just intrigued to talk to creators saying, which direction are you going in? You're going to do both. Okay, fair enough. Which is also like a great way to go. Because the problem is also making that choice can be very confusing because you see opportunities on both ends.
Yes. It can be very confusing, but I feel like with the people that I have around me, Farhan, for example, and it's just, I have the biggest person in my life whenever I need anything, I call Santu. Santu is my one man, like, yes, no, are we doing this? Yes, no, what's the direction? Yes, no. He's the ultimate. And I feel like I've surrounded myself with, veterans in this industry where they can guide me on what I should do, what I should not do. How do I do this? How do I not do this? If I want to become an entrepreneur, what's the right time? What's the right direction? What's the right business? If I want to do acting, what's the right first role? Because that first role can make or break you, So I think I have a couple of people who I think will help me branch out when I have to branch out, when it's the right time to branch out. So,
is there a particular kind of character you love playing in your? Because I go back to this, I think you have such an interesting showcase of friends. That friend, which is that friend character which you like playing the most?
I think if you're asking specific to that friend or a genuine, like any character
in general,
I like playing myself only because it's the most natural, yeah.
Being authentic to yourself.
Yeah, because when it's direct piece to cam, like if I'm talking to that camera right now, I'm just Agasthya, and just being Agastya is, I'm your next door neighborhood guy, you know.
You're that friend.
I'm that friend, your neighborhood boy I am. And I know that's my image and I'm playing into it very nicely. And I feel like I like playing myself because uh, my audience is college students, school students, you know, they kind of relate to me if I'm directly talking because they look at me just as a friend, not as a character on the internet. You know, I can be somebody that even if I meet them in person, that we're having the same conversation that we would have on the internet.
Yeah.
So my favorite's that, but if I had to pick a character, I love playing my dad role. It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
What's your biggest insecurity? What are you most insecure about?
Uh, I would say my biggest insecurity or my biggest flaw. Is that okay?
Flaw, yeah.
Yeah. My biggest flaw would be overburdening myself with my own dreams, you know. That's some last night I was awake for 3 hours trying to sleep because I just could not sleep because I felt like right now I'm functioning on autopilot, which is not good for me because I have to actively be in it, thinking new things. And I feel like I've been on autopilot for like a week, 2 weeks now. And I feel like that's my biggest insecurity, that I let my ambitions get or my dreams get the better of me sometimes because I feel like, okay, I want to do this. Like I just told you, I want to act and build businesses. You know, I say it, but I think again so let me give you two. One is I'm very impatient. I'm learning to be patient every single day. No matter how patient I am, there'll always be that 1%
And the
of
universe tells you slow down.
exactly, like conversations like this, it tells me that I have time. I want to do both. Take a step. I'm going to be 21 this year. I have time. I just need to slow down, take it one day at a time, and do my best every single day. Because if the goal or the vision that you want to do in the next 10 years seems unachievable, you just have to take it a step at a time. And you're going to get there. So I would say that's my biggest insecurity. But I have found a solution how to.
What is your solution?
My solution is this: just talk to people around me who tell me that you're good where you are. You're good where you are. You know, you work hard. You're good where you are. Just have a little bit of patience because you're the only thing that can, like, nothing can stop me. Only I can stop me. I've learned that from my parents and my friends, that the only way that I can lose is if I stop. And the only way I can stop is if I let myself get overwhelmed to such a degree where I'm unable to function. My creative mind is just shut off. And that's the only way that I can actually lose in this. So just calm down, have patience, take it one step at a time.
Do you also, when you calm down, take a pause, for instance? What do you do?
I either play the keyboard, and actually, the first piece of content I made was a keyboard cover, which was 7 years back.
Oh.
7 or 8 years back. And I used to just post it on Instagram. Okay, but yeah, fun story. I used to do that and I go on drives. Going on drives are my therapy sessions. Not that you shouldn't get therapy. I go to therapy also, get therapy. But they are like my impromptu therapy sessions, that just loud music and just driving.
I'm so happy we did this, man. It's been
amazing.
It's been awesome, and we'll got to do another part with this. We talk about Rafiq Merchant, which is what we did not talk about. Just for context of people, Zabardast, Aflatun, which is what we were talking about before we started going to this calm conversation. The prelude to this podcast.
It's been something.
It's going to be Aflatun.
No, but this was genuinely amazing, man. Thank you so
Thanks
much
for
for having me.
coming.
And we're gonna do another one.
For sure.
We're gonna do another one.
For sure.